Hello, everyone. Welcome to Record Club. I have Bryan Abu Chakra back with this. And you know what, Bryan? Right before I hit record, I said, let's just fuck around.
We're going to fuck around.
We're just going to fuck around today. We're going to be silly.
We're going to be silly.
We're going to be out there and talking about N.W.A.
Woo!
And, you know, we're just going to be loosey-goosey today.
Yep.
Bryan.
Yeah.
I asked you to do this episode because you had done Wu-Tang Clan with me. But then I was like, is there any chance you listen to N.W.A.? And had you heard it?
Not that much. I mean, I got into like Eazy-E a little bit.
Okay.
But not that much. I really like the song Nuts on Your Chin.
I don't think I've ever heard Nuts on Your Chin.
Yeah.
By Eazy-E, I'm guessing.
Yep. Yeah. It's really it's
what could that be about? I wonder. I don't know.
It's really good. It's really funny.
Yeah. But not N.W.A. itself. I'm sure you've heard like "Fuck the Police."
Yeah, and like the hits and the stuff like that. But yeah, not N.W.A. too much on its own. I had friends that were into it, but never like sat me down and made me listen to it.
Okay, and people did that with Wu-Tang Clan, right?
I mean, me and my friends got into it at the same time, so that was like that's kind of how that happens. That's the most organic way. Like whenever you all are getting into a band together, that
You kind of yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Well, N.W.A. I had heard of. I don't even necessarily knew if I knew that Dr. Dre was also in this.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
Oh.
I thought Ice Cube. I honestly thought it was Ice-T as well, but I was incorrect. But I didn't really look into it. I didn't look into it until now.
Yeah.
In my mind, as a kid, especially, Ice Cube and Ice-T were from the same group.
Yeah.
And that was what it was. That's not the case, but that made sense to me as a kid. But yeah, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, and Ice Cube, I guess, would be the main players.
Yeah.
Of this.
Yeah, and then I guess MC Ran technically.
Sure. I mean, there's more people for sure to it, but of the people that I knew later on, it would be those three. And Eazy-E, not so much even. Like I know the name Eazy-E, but like I didn't know he died.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I didn't. He died of AIDS. I did not know this.
Yeah.
I knew nothing of this.
He died of AIDS.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, crazy. Anyway, so I learned a lot this week about N.W.A. Did you see the movie Straight Outta Compton?
No.
I watched the first hour and a half of it for this week.
Wow.
I was going to finish
it.
It's 2.5 hours.
Oh my God.
Which, let me say, too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Okay.
But truthfully, I got to the part where they released this album. I'm like, I'm good. Like,
that's good enough.
I mean, maybe we'll go back to it. I was surprised to see Paul Giamatti in that movie. I'm always happy to see Giamatti, so that was a nice treat. And I guess the kid who played Ice Cube in the movie is Ice Cube's son in real life.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But we're, again, learning a lot this week. Bryan, what did you think of this? Listening to it now as a whole album.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was really bold, first of all. Like, it definitely took a stand off of what 80s rap had been doing. And I can't remember if this came out before or after the Wu-Tang album. I think it came out
This
after.
came out before.
It came out before? Okay.
So this came out in 1988. I looked this up because I was wondering too. Wu-Tang was like 92.
Yeah.
So a few years later. And yeah, because I was like, who inspired who here? But they did. You know, they were first, really.
Yeah.
And I guess the term gangsta rap is not. This is considered gangsta rap, but that didn't exist. That term didn't exist back then, and actually they didn't call it that. It was called that by the press, who were sounds honestly a little bit racist.
Yeah, but it was the time, and it worked.
It was the time, and it's catchy. But they called it reality rap.
Yeah,
where it's like, this is what we see, so we're just gonna rap about that.
Yeah,
and so, like, I mean, I think they still kind of refer to it as reality rap. Like, this is what it was. You know, like, it's not gangster rap. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Interesting. You know, I listened to this, and have you ever heard of Tribe Called Quest?
Yeah,
I got them as well. I should have had you on for that. But I really liked Tribe Called Quest. That was a little later than this too. But it's funny because I found a lot of the themes and even Wu-Tang Clan were kind of like, it wasn't really, it's kind of like don't disrespect women, don't rape women. There's a lot of like, don't take advantage. There's a lot of that theme. They did not have this in N.W.A.
No.
That was not what they were rapping about here at all.
No. No, there's a whole song about the money dynamic.
I Ain't the One, which Ice Cube, to his credit, I've had that song stuck in my head all week.
It's great.
But man, those lyrics are like, this is fucked up, Ice Cube. Isn't it so funny that he's like a household name?
Yeah.
And like a movie star, and like this fucking guy who's singing all this heinous shit. And, you know, like, he was the guy who wrote most of these lyrics.
Yeah.
He wrote the lyrics for Eazy-E. You know, Dr. Dre was the producer.
Yeah.
Or, like, if in Wu-Tang terminology, he'd be like, what, the SZA?
He'd be RZA.
RZA.
Yeah.
Sorry, not RZA.
SZA's another
SZA's the other one. RZA, yes, for sure. But yeah, so, like, he's the producer and comes up with the beats, and Ice Cube writes all the lyrics. I don't know. It was a cool dynamic. What I also wanted to say before we get into the album itself is I don't know if there is a harder album cover than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this album cover...
It's pretty good.
Fucking rules. All of them looking down at you, point a gun at you. It's like, oh, this is the last thing you see.
You almost don't even, like, catch the gun at first.
You don't.
Like,
if you fuck with N.W.A, this will be the last thing that you see.
Yep.
Which is... And then the font...
Yep.
Oh, my God. You don't want to fuck with these people.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with Ice Cube.
I mean, N.W.A, like,
yeah,
that stands for something.
It does stand for something.
And I feel like they wanted to actually be called the full name, because in the album, they unless it's like in a skit or something fast, I feel like they always say the full name in the album.
I think they do.
Like, mostly. And I was like listening to it, I'm like, is this just me trying to make like a funny joke? And I'm like, no, I think they really wanted the band name to be full said.
Yeah.
And a producer just went, no.
I mean,
no, we will not.
Probably.
Do that.
Now, and again, I watched the movie, which is not always one for one.
No.
They have to take creative licenses, sure. But I will say that Paul Giamatti, who would be the manager, makes a joke. What does that stand for? No whites allowed? I thought was the cheesiest line in that movie.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, man.
Let's listen to the first song, straight out of Compton.
Ooh.
And what do they have to say? Right off the bat, they tell you what it is.
Yeah.
You're about to hear what?
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
The strength of street knowledge. Now, you hear the drum machine. You hear, it sounds very lo-fi, because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking about what came out before this to this probably scared the shit out of some people.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I love the idea that this album itself came out, they cost them $12,000 to make.
Jesus.
And, which was a lot. And I think Eazy-E was really responsible for, like, getting the time for the studio and, like, was really focused on that. And Eazy-E had a hit already with Dr. Dre, which was Boys in the Hood.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like that song, actually. Easy.
Yeah.
But that was kind of like his like single. That single let their manager know, like figured out like who they were, went to them like, hey, do you have like a whole album? And then, but they kind of released this all themselves under Ruthless Records. No major record label wanted this.
Yeah.
Because it's too fucking hard, especially at the time. Like, yeah, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about, right off the bat, they're talking about killing each other and killing, like killing whoever, bodies being hauled off. Here's a murder rap to keep you dancing with a crime record like Charles Manson.
Right?
AK-47 is the tool. Don't make me act a motherfucking fool. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, this is not for radio play.
No. It can't, like, right?
Dr. Dre came out and said, and he was like, I can't listen to this album.
Oh.
And he's like, I can't listen to it because I hear, like, we made this so quick. We made it to sell in our trunks of the car out in the parking lot. I did not think this would have gone anywhere.
Right.
So he's like, I listened to it. I just hear so many flaws and things it just makes me crazy listening to this album.
Oh, man.
And it's so funny because like it's obviously what made them.
Right.
people have kind of compared this album to, as weird as it sounds, the Sex Pistols, because that changed everything. But there was one album, and there is more than one N.W.A. album. But of the whole group together, and Ice Cube being a part of it, there's only one album.
Wow.
And so they kind of felt like this is like something that changed a whole genre of music or created a whole genre of music.
Oh yeah.
But there's only one of them. So this is what it is. Anyways, I thought that was interesting. Straight Outta Compton is a good song. I don't know. I like the songs, but like I didn't feel as attached as I did when I listened to like Wu-Tang Clan. I felt scared. I don't really feel scared here.
No.
But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, I think how this band, how they found their popularity was like underground ways of like kids be like, you won't believe this fucking record.
Yeah.
And then they give it to their friends to listen to, and then their friends buy it, and then the other friends buy it, and it kind of spreads. Within, I think, 6 months, with not being, again, being all self-distributed, it sold 500,000 copies.
Damn.
And within a year, it was 1 million and went platinum.
Wow.
And it was just them.
That makes sense though. I mean, like at the time you hadn't heard anything that hard. Like nothing had been that strong, that like, you know, like you were saying, like real. And that's why they call it real, because maybe it wasn't exactly what they're seeing on the streets. They're heightening it. They're poets. They're performing, and they're good at what they do. So they obviously aren't just out in the streets doing what you think. But I'm sure they lived in neighborhoods where that was happening, and they knew people that were involved in this stuff. And so reporting that was something, first of all, a lot of people hadn't heard ever. And then there was a whole generation of people now being represented. And it's like, the one thing I noticed about this music compared to the music or the instrumentation with the Wu-Tang was like, Wu-Tang was more of like sampling different things and bringing in a different feel from like other eras. Dre kind of like produces his own beats here, but the beats are definitely meant to make you bounce your head, nod your head, move. They're definitely not meant to just be, like you said, as scary or as moody as like Wu-Tang's beats were, and in my opinion, and maybe people will disagree, but that's kind of what I felt about this.
Well,
this felt more like a boppy album, like an album I could like, you know, drive down and listen to.
You are absolutely right. And actually, you know, people did not take California serious for rap. That was a New York considered thing. And so California made like funky dance music, which sounded a lot like this, minus the lyrics.
Right.
So then they put the lyrics on top of what the California beat was. But like in the movie, and I saw this, it's like the lowriders of the Cadillacs bouncing, whatever.
Yeah.
And that is what this goes to. Like it is that vibe in this for sure. So yeah, you're right. Actually, that is more. It was dancey and poppy because that was the California sound, and they just added their rap beat. You know, a lot of the record scratching and stuff like that. That was like California. You know,
the hits, the bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
you know, those
exactly.
like quintessential '90s rap sounds. That all came from this, from Dre.
Yeah.
And like, not necessarily to dig them on anything in terms of, you know, like people will talk about different types of beat makers. You know, like you have somebody like Timbaland who produces like really intricate, nice woven beats. When you hear a Timbaland beat, you kind of know real quick. You're like, oh, okay, that's Timbaland on the beat. Same thing back in the day with when Kanye would do tracks before all the craziness when he was just producing. It's like, oh, it's a Kanye West beat.
Yeah, and actually, I just did Alicia Keys last week, and he and Timbaland both did a song on that album that I got, and you can hear it.
Yep.
Like, you can hear both of those.
You can absolutely hear it. So Dre, what they were good at is creating a beat that made you nod your head. That was like, you know, I'm sure he used a bunch of shit from disco, you know, a bunch of stuff from jazz, and like wove it all in there. And funk. I mean, those are all really about like, you know, bobbing along, like really chilling with the music. And then the other thing I noticed, the delivery of the lyrics. N.W.A. a lot more enunciated, a lot slower, a lot more of that like mainstream rap at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Wu-Tang was slanging. That's
true.
You know, it was a lot of slanging.
And you know what? With this, it's funny because you're right. They make it so you can clearly hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's heinous. And so like we want you to know the fucked up things we're saying and not have any qualms of it. Like this is what it is.
Nope.
Like we're saying this shit. Speaking of saying this shit, the second song on this album is "Fuck the Police."
Yeah.
What a bold. And again, I don't think they thought this would be owned by 1 million people.
No.
They made this song thinking, yeah, we'll sell it to our friends out of our car, and they're gonna love this song because they also hate the fucking police.
Yeah.
And they also get harassed by the police.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be our thing. Now, when it became a global phenomenon, now it's like, oh fuck, they got in trouble with this song.
Really? Oh.
The FBI sent them a letter, being like, yeah, you can't play this on concerts, like you can't.
What?
Because it's endangering law enforcement. You're talking about killing law enforcement and how they're corrupt and bad, and you can't play this. So then they played it. They played it more and started calling themselves America's Most Dangerous Band or Group. Or whatever.
Yeah, I remember them being called that
because they like framed the letter from the FBI that made that like a badge of honor, and they leaned into that. In Detroit, I guess when they were on the tour for this album, they said you can't play the song. They did play the song. They were arrested on stage for playing the song.
Incredible.
But then that looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like you see that and you go, these guys are so fucking rad, and then they become even more legendary. Like that's how. I mean, that's fucking dope.
I mean, that whether it was just, hey, you know what? We're going to do it anyways, or whether it was do it and we'll get the publicity, because they know that kind of shit blows up big. Like you've seen it happen with folk heroes back in the day, like folk comedians like George Carlin. Like every time they got arrested, they got more publicity from it. Yeah. And so you just get free publicity, you know, whether or not it's on purpose, and it was the smartest thing that they could have done.
So here's a little bit of Fuck the Police. If you haven't already heard it. Dude, it's so funky too.
Yep. Like starting off with the horns, like with a little bit of remix. And again, it's like, it's very well produced.
I love how they name all themselves too. Like, this is who's saying this. It's all of us saying this message.
And it's something I think I talked about on the Wu-Tang album, where it's like, you have to tell the people who's rapping, and especially with N.W.A. The reason I brought up how they were bringing up, like, how they rap, unless you can tell who's who, like I think this is Ice Cube. Yeah. Like he has a very distinctive voice. When he moves off the track, the next person comes in, because Ice Cube wrote all the lyrics. Yeah. They are rapping like Ice Cube. Yes. Whereas when Method Man comes on, you hear him go, you know, you hear him, you know what ODB sounds like. You know what Raekwon, like the two that get confused, Raekwon and Ghostface, because they're related. But otherwise, everybody really has a sound and a different way of rapping. Yeah. N.W.A.
I feel like the main three, if Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, or Ice Cube, I could tell those three. But
right.
I mean, other people are, and mix. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Right. And like even in Wu-Tang, you knew who some of the lesser known, like You God, you'd be like, okay, it's a You God track right now. Right. And that was also something I noticed. The composition, who's on the track. N.W.A. made it a big point to have most, if not all of the people I feel like on the track. Yes. Whereas in Wu-Tang, sometimes it was just 2 people. Right. Or sometimes it was 3. Right. And then other tracks had all of them. But N.W.A. really was straight out of Compton, had mostly the entire band rap on each track, which was kind of interesting.
I definitely think so. Now, in the movie, it's like they're outside the studio, and then they're just hanging outside. The police show up because what are you doing out here? They have them all lay down and like gonna arrest them, but they didn't do anything. They're just taking a break from recording this record. Then Ice Cube goes and writes the lyrics, and then that's not entirely true. And from what I gathered, and again, when I do get like info here, I'm not saying this is exactly what happened because this is what I read on the internet, so you don't really know. But what I heard is he already had these lyrics. He had something run-ins with the police and being like detained, didn't do anything, but just being detained because he was black, you know, all this shit. And so that thing outside the studio did happen where they were outside, got detained again, got sent back inside, and then they're like, you know what, fuck this, get that song out that you wrote, we are going to do it. And that pushed them to do it, but that song already existed. Right. Again, I don't know if that's 100% true, but I think that's what I got from this. And yeah, I think that the song, I mean, it's still relevant today. He did an interview recently, and he was like, yeah, the song is just as relevant today as it was back then. Like, absolutely. And he's like, and it will be in 100 more years. Like, it's always going to be fuck the police, and it's always going to be them, like, harassing minorities. That's what's going to happen forever. So, fuck the police is what he said today. So, yeah. especially in like 2020, this song was like,
oh God,
that it was like the theme of the summer. Like,
Yeah.
it was the George Floyd protest. It was everywhere. This song was everywhere. Yeah. So, anyways, I think this is probably like this album was added to the Library of Congress as a significant historical artifact.
Well, that makes sense.
And I think this song is not just this song, but this song in particular is the main reason why. I think this is like, it shows you from their side, these people's side in Compton, how they are treated by the police. And it's not good.
Not very good at all.
All right. We have to go through every song on this because there's a lot. But the next song, Gangsta Gangsta, let's see what they have to say about this. You're right with the head. You are going this way.
Right? Immediately, your B-boys can dance to this, you know.
And that's the record label. Wow.
Yep.
Goddamn. Again, this to me, it's so funny because I think of like Run DMC and it's tricky.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea, but the lyrics couldn't be more different,
Yeah.
But it is the same like funky beat. I don't know. A lot of the samples they used, I guess so they also learned a lesson. So they got sued because they used samples and they were allowed. But again, they never thought the people would ever know they sampled their songs.
Right.
Like, how would you to know? Like, we were just fucking around. And okay. I didn't think we saw a million albums. I'm sorry. But the one person who didn't sue them was George Clinton, who was in Funkadelic.
Yeah.
Who I've covered Funkadelic on this show as well. And he was always like, nah, this is good. And so
that's good.
And his mindset was like, you're making my concerts fill up with young kids again because they want to see who sampled, So like, you think I'm cool because you sampled me, and now your fans are coming to see me. I think this is good. This is good news. Come on over. And so after this, they sampled a lot more Funkadelic because he's like, no, go ahead, everything you want, sample away.
Smart. Very smart.
George Clinton, you're smart. I am going to go into the song 8 Ball Remix. I'm going to skip it down a little bit. Unless you have anything to say about Ain't It Rough or Parental Discretion is Advised.
No, I'm good.
Okay. One thing I want to say about Parental Discretion is Advised is being spelled I-Z. Big fan of that. Okay. 8 Ball Remix. I'm going to just go right to the...
I don't drink Brass Monkey. Like the beat funky. Nickname Easy-E, yo, 8 Ball Junkie. Bass drum kick in and show my shit. Rapping holding my dick, boy. I don't quit, cry,
I was like, wait, Brass Monkey, Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And had the song Brass Monkey. Do you know when the Beastie Boys album came out?
No, but I think it was in the late 80s, wasn't it?
It's 86. It was 2 years before this. And the song Brass Monkey had I thought for sure Beastie Boys took Brass Monkey and got it. Oh, they heard Brass Monkey in this song. They made a song about... No, that is not correct. I did not realize Beastie Boys came out in 86.
Yep. When you listen to their first albums, you really see that they started more as a punk band than a rap band.
They started in 79.
It was insane.
That's crazy.
They were really like more of a punk kind of, I don't want to call them thrash, but like, a punk band at first, and then they started to rap, and they've never just been a one type of thing band either. I feel like they're a band that always does different stuff because they're not just all MCs. They can all do it like playing instruments.
I've never listened to an entire Beastie Boys album. I'm sure they're in this, and
that's
sure
funny.
That would be fun.
I figured that would have been a band that like you would have attached to as a kid and really liked.
No, never.
I guess
honestly, my first exposure, I don't know why the album went away. My first exposure really to like listening to full rap albums is this show.
Wow.
Like I just hip hop and rap, and I never was against it. I just never actually sat down and listened to an entire album.
Yeah. I mean, well, you probably grew up with your dad playing all the stuff that...
Yeah, it was Alice in Chains and Metallica and Rush.
Yeah.
It wasn't... It wasn't
Yeah.
Beastie Boys or N.W.A.
Yeah, no, I mean that I think has a huge contribution to what you listen to when you're younger.
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure.
And what you listen to when you're older too. Like what oldies to you is very. I bet like to your kids like Foo Fighters are oldies.
No, hey, legit, yes, Brian. So we are. Lennon loves the Foo Fighters. I gave her like a record player, and so she has like her own little record collection. And we gave her their second album. She listens to it all the time. So for Christmas, me and Jenny got our tickets. So me, her, and Jenny are going to go see the Foo Fighters when they come to Petco in like a couple months.
Yeah.
Which I've seen them many times, but Lennon's like fucking amped. Like
That's gonna be fun.
It's like her biggest concert ever. She's really excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Taylor Swift would be the biggest concert ever,
Yeah.
but like rock concert.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, but yeah, but that is like, when I play Nirvana all the time.
Yeah.
And that to them is the same as my dad playing like 70s Rush.
Yeah.
It's like
there are people out there right now whose like dad like ingrained Korn into them since they were a kid.
Yeah.
Like Korn is a band that will always remind them of their dad or
Yes.
their mom. You know what I mean? Like because you have kids. Almost all my friends have kids, and it's like, yeah, they're just gonna play. You're not gonna not listen to the bands that you like listening to. You're gonna listen to all of the music, and they're gonna latch onto it.
Yeah, and like I don't know if my kids love the Postal Service, but they've heard it a shitload of times because I play it a lot.
Yeah,
or I have at least. The Bird and the Bee, they definitely know all the songs to the Bird and the Bee because they play that shit a lot.
Yeah,
and so it is funny. This doesn't mean anything, and there's no reason to bring this up, but Becca's a senior now.
Yeah.
And so I was talking about when I was in high school. I'm like, I guess that's a while ago compared to you. And then I thought like, well, what would have been the difference? What would like the age gap be when I was a senior in 2002? What would that be to him? And then I was like, I think that would be 1980. So it's like having a conversation with someone who graduated in 1980.
Wow.
Which sucks because that makes me realize how old we are.
Yeah.
And how our music is. Right? I think it's right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Which is again, it's like if anything, it just shows me the cycle of how music is. Like there will always be the hallmarks like N.W.A. Like you can see it in industries is what I'm saying. Like Citizen Kane is a great movie to compare to N.W.A.'s Straight Outta Compton because for what it did, not only just it being a good album and having really fun and good music that you wanted to listen to, it also changed how people made albums. It changed what it sounded like. It changed what people could talk about, how people talked about it, and how it was produced. And it showed people that, it's sometimes it's more about the content. So you go back to the thing you were saying earlier, Dre can't listen to this album.
Yeah.
And I find that funny. If anything, it just, to me, I hear that and I go, so what I had was good. Fuck the technical shit.
Right.
Fuck making it best produced. Oops, there was a track scratch or there was a blah, blah, blah. Was what you put down something people wanted to keep listening to?
Yeah.
Clearly.
But maybe it's like how I go back and watch version 1 and go, oh, fuck. Like maybe it's the same thing where it's like,
Right.
And you just think like all I can see when I watch that, because I just watched that with Beckett recently.
Oh, man.
And I watched it.
Oh, man.
And I was like, did I not tell you the revelation I had with that fucking thing?
No.
My dad's in the first episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm that age and you
Oh,
are
God.
my age.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that sucked. But
Wow.
But I watched that and I can't see it for anything but like cut here. Why did you not cut? Why?
Because you didn't know.
You cut the shot. Why is it still going? And then it's like, you can see the boom. God, I just see that. I don't see like, hey, when I did finish it with him, and I realized that I was that age as he, close to as he is.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Like, if you would have come home with this, I would have been fucking proud.
Right.
Like, I would have been like, that's pretty good. You know, like, good for you.
Yep.
So, like, I definitely see it on the parent side of it now, too. You're like, all right, you did something pretty cool here.
It is.
Yeah.
And again, that's always been something I've said that, like, when there's a heart of something there, when there's, like, actually something behind it or a message that people are trying to get across, which sometimes for, early Mega64 was just, let's be funny and make each other laugh. And that's been the tenet, I think, of why we're still around to today.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with why N.W.A.'s record is still going to be around forever, because it gave you a glimpse of a lifestyle. Whether or not that's current, Now it's almost a time capsule of a lifestyle.
Yes.
And it's going to resonate forever because people will always feel those same feelings of being oppressed, whether or not it's whatever, but the circumstances are.
Yeah.
We'll always feel, repressed or pressed down by something or, ostracized or something. We all have those feelings, no matter what. And we can identify, even if it's not for the same reasons.
Exactly. And again, as you said, a time capsule, I think that's important to have this time capsule. I think it is an important, almost historical document. And as fucked up as the songs get, which we'll hear, it is still like, this is what it was. And, I do think, especially with I Ain't the One,
man,
I hope this is not accurate. But I do think I see that as I'm going to go so crazy that you're going to laugh. I'm going to make Dr. Dre laugh at my lyrics because they're so fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's more that than the other, but who fucking knows? But the song that I actually was completely caught off guard by, and this is my favorite song on the album, and it's funny because I think it's the most, I would say, milquetoast song on the album. And they don't curse in it. And it's almost like it could have been a radio hit.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the thing is Dr. Dre making fun of people for not cursing in their songs, but they don't curse in the song that he's... I thought that was interesting. But it's Express Yourself, and this is my favorite song on the album. They got a killer sample from a band from 1971. But I think this song fucking rules.
Yeah.
I love a good sample, and this is like a fantastic one.
Yep.
And I really like how Dr. Dre would lead into the rap or the rhyme of Express Yourself. Like, he would let them finish the rhyme. I think that's fucking awesome.
Yep, because what it also creates is a chant. So when you're live,
yeah, that's true.
The crowd each time it hits, and then now we've also seen all the commercials that have used this sample, whether or not it was because of this band or N.W.A. or it was the original band. This sample I've heard in commercials about clothing commercials or whatever, when they're talking about being individual or being like specifically you.
Yeah.
And it's like, who would have thought this group of guys in LA?
I know, right?
And it is a great song.
It's a great song. And again, I listened to the actual song Express Yourself. I forget. I forget who sings it. But it's a good song. This song I like more. It's better. What they did to it is better, I think, than the original. But it is, to me, this is a perfect summer song.
Yep.
And it's funny because you talk about, I don't smoke weed, that's going to fuck your brain up. He doesn't actually say fuck in here, but, whatever. And it's like, all the other songs, I smoke so much fucking weed. It's like this one, they're like, what is this song?
Yeah, I love that. I love that, though.
I don't know. Anyways, I love this song.
Yeah.
I made a playlist called a pool playlist. Whenever at a pool party.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I put this song on. This is a good pool song.
Yep.
This is a fun one. I'm going to listen to. Want to do I Ain't the One? Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ice Cube, what do you have to say to me? But hey, already catchy though. Bum 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 bum. Like, that's great.
Yep. You can already even hear the skeleton of Slim Shady's first hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name is what?
Oh my God, you're totally right. You're absolutely right. Also, a lot of use of the kazoo in this. Or not kazoo, a slide whistle.
Yeah.
Big slide whistle thing here.
Lots of Looney Tunes sounds.
Yeah, which makes me think that that's why they're saying this is not serious.
Yeah. It's also, it's an exaggeration.
Oh, for sure.
I definitely have known people who have talked to me about exactly this. This is what I'm doing with this one guy, and I'm trying to get him to get me tickets somewhere, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, what? Yeah, I already got him to buy me a computer, and I'm like, you can't do that to people. That's extorting people. That's not right. Yeah. And they're like, oh, he's fine. I'm happy. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's when I worked retail, I heard the craziest stories, man. People tell you things, you're like, okay. But hearing this, I'm like, yeah, it lines up.
There's a, I don't know if we should talk about this or not, but there is a scene I have seen at conventions, and in particular, I see it the most at Anime Expo.
Yeah.
And the Anime Expo thing I see is a cute girl in cosplay with a guy behind her. And she will just point to something and walk away, and then he'll go buy that thing. And then she'll walk somewhere else in her booth and point to that thing, and then walk away, and he'll buy that thing. And I have no idea what the dynamic is. I have no idea if they're married, if it's a Twitch mod. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But I have seen it time and time again.
Me too.
And it's a scene. It's something out there. I have seen that.
That is where I've seen it the most too. Like the most in working in person, because I can't believe it. They'll come up and it'll be just this person who's just super meek and this other person who's just pointing at stuff. And I'm like, this is a $600 order.
Yeah.
I mean, hey. All right.
I mean, yeah, I
don't question it.
And I'm not saying they came to our booth. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. But I did. I love people watching at the booth.
Me
and
too.
And you see it.
Oh,
you
I
see
love
that.
it.
The next song is Dope Man.
Nice.
So this is about, I mean, basically saying like the dope man's out there. There's always a dope man. People are always getting high. People take it different ways. Some people it ruins their whole life. Some people just don't. It doesn't affect them. Whatever. But like always keep an eye out for the dope man. And I'm, maybe they weren't dealing drugs. Maybe they were, but they definitely knew people who were.
Oh yeah. Compton.
In Compton,
LA.
they knew.
I mean, LA, there's still, still the hood,
It's so funny, though, because this album is so hard, and I've seen the straight out of Compton logo knocked off everywhere. To maybe one of it's like the Thrasher magazine logo.
Yep.
That's everywhere. Like, we were at a dance competition in Kansas City, and one of the shirts they were selling there there's a theme at dance competitions. And I don't partake in this particular one, but it's all the dads of the dancers, and they all wear a shirt, and it has the same sentiment of I'm a dance dad and I have no money because I am a dance dad. That is the sentiment.
Okay, already hate it.
Of these shirts, where it's like, dance dad's job, drive car, give money, pick up, cheer loudest. It's that.
Yes,
that.
I saw those at the Taylor Swift concert.
Okay.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm a Swiftie boyfriend. And then the list.
Right. This is such a niche that I could never do this, but I had an idea for a shirt where it was like that same stuff, but then it starts getting weird, where it's like, cry in the bathtub. Like I add weird things to the list, but I'm never going to release that. But there was one that was the straight out Compton logo, but it was straight out of Money, Dance Dad. But it was like, my God. But I'm telling you, dude, like, I see this logo everywhere you go. You see the straight out Compton logo.
Wow.
It's everywhere.
Well, I guess just like they sampled and remixed.
People sampled and remixed their logo?
Yeah, it's iconic. It's recognizable. I mean, we see it now with the fucking rapper shirts. You see them everywhere. It's that fucking early 2000s MySpace fucking, Big Bear doing things with the shitty 3D font and then whatever shitty
and I love
picture.
It.
And people love it. And I'm not dogging on it either. I've seen a few of them that are fucking hilarious, and it just becomes a style of shirt. Yeah, like, I mean, Disney has been clear about doing that with like Spirit jerseys, right? It's literally one style of print with 1,000 iterations. Yep. So I mean, good on N.W.A. I mean, maybe they aren't making money off of each one of them, but those who look will go back to N.W.A. and find them.
True. And then what is straight out of? Yeah, because straight out of is a saying. Yeah, straight out of whatever. Yeah. I mean, Weird Al did straight out of Linwood. I mean, that's a thing and that's obviously a parody, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. The last song I'm gonna play is Something to Dance To, because this was the most out of place song on the album to me. Really? It ends this. It's just a dance song. And I guess it was what they said it was. They didn't lie to you.
Oh yeah. Oh, especially for the time at the end though. To throw that in there, it's still weird.
Like, it reminds me of like you're watching like a Ninja Turtles movie, and you're like walking down the street and someone's like breakdancing on a platinum box or something with this song. But I don't know why it's here. I don't know why they did it. I'm not that, it's fine, I guess, but kind of weird.
Maybe they were hoping they'd get like a radio hit off of it.
I know, but this is like Arabian Prince, as you said. Like, I don't know if he's in much more of this album. Like, he's not in the hits. He's in this one though. I don't know. Kind of weird. Yeah. I am like featuring it because it was like, that's a weird song to end it on.
Yeah.
And then,
But hey, like you said, they didn't lie to you about what it was.
No, something to dance to.
Something to dance to.
I feel like personally, I think for me, it's too many songs on this album. Like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done with a few less, I suppose. Not that they're bad in any way, but I was kind of like, I got it, But again, it's hard to criticize something that they made for $12,000 to sell in a trunk. Like the fact that it's weird. It's number 70 on this list. Apple Music just released a top 100 of all time list.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's also number 70. Same
really?
number. Weird. How about that?
Huh.
Yeah. Let's see. Should I give it the shakers, or I feel like maybe it's premature? Let me read what they have to say about it first.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, by the way, Brian, I think I found out I'm dyslexic. So that's why I maybe struggle reading. So everyone,
surprising.
I think, and it's not, but everyone, if you don't watch the podcast, Jenny and I were having a conversation about how I have to read and do things and read numbers, and then we did a dyslexia test online, which is not official,
right?
But out of the categories you could get, mine was the most severe. So it's pretty likely. But anyways, whatever. Well, maybe I'll do a real test one day. N.W.A.'s debut brought West Coast gangster rap to Middle America that changed hip-hop forever. It was a launching pad for the careers of Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and Dr. Dre. Back then, we was calling it reality rap. See, I love it when I say something.
Yeah,
and then
in the book.
It proves it in the book. I feel so good about that.
Ooh.
Ice Cube told Rolling Stone years later, gangster rap is a name that the media coined. Ice Cube's rage and Dr. Dre's police siren street beats combined for a truly fearsome sound on Express Yourself and Straight Outta Compton. But it was a protest track, Fuck the Police, that truly shocked Ronald Reagan's America, earning the crew its biggest honor, a threatening letter from the FBI.
That's great.
How about that? I liked this album. I definitely think that it was a game changer for the whole genre. But for me, it's a 3.5. But out of respect. 3.5. What are you going to give it a 5?
I'm going to also give it a 3.5.
Okay.
But I'm going to do it out of disrespect.
Oh, Brian, no, it's the worst. If Ice Cube sees this.
Oh, man, I want a diss track from Ice Cube.
Can you
if
imagine?
you ever pull, because I assume I would assume that No Vaseline has got to be on the top 100 songs. But that is one of the, if not, it is in my opinion, the best diss track ever written.
I read about that because that's written about Dr. Dre or N.W.A.
All of N.W.A.
Because he left and was mad.
Well, they basically, he left because he was doing everything aside from making the beats. So much so in that one of the tracks, Eazy-E says it out loud. Ice Cube writes the words that I say. Yeah. It's like he was the guy.
Yeah.
So they tried to diss him. They released a diss track, and he went, I'm going to put you guys down. And not only did they not respond, the band was effectively dissolved
because it was such a good song.
Track.
That's fucking dope. That's kind of like what N.W.A did to Drake.
That's why, since then, I don't think any track has ever done so much damage to one person. And that's why if that ever comes in there, it'd be really fun to talk about.
When we went to the Padre game a week from yesterday, a week exactly ago. Manny Machado walked out to that Kendrick Lamar song.
That's so good.
And I was like, is that his new song come out to? Is that is it Not Like Us? What's it called?
Yeah, They Not Like Us.
Dude, that song is a good one. And I don't know what the fuck Drake did, but it was not good. Drake, not good.
Not good.
Okay, now let's talk quickly about Elvis and Suspicious Minds, which we've actually covered, Brian, on this podcast before. One of the first episodes ever, because actually that was the first one Jenny was on. We did get Elvis. That song was on it, but I want to talk more about Suspicious Minds. But first, let's refresh our memory and see. And also, I'm not assuming you've watched every episode of this. Maybe you haven't. So maybe you didn't see that one.
But you should.
You can.
It's on
the Patreon. Let's listen to a little bit of Suspicious Minds. I think this could be like favorite Elvis song. It's one of the best ones, I think.
It's definitely one of those songs that I've heard so many times I didn't know who sang it. I just knew that it was a song. And it's kind of, I feel like it probably is the pinnacle example of an Elvis song. That isn't like, Heartbreak Hotel.
Sure.
Like the
Hound Dog.
or whatever. But like the crooner side of Elvis Presley that maybe a lot of people who didn't grow up in that time didn't know.
But I think if you want an idea of what's Elvis about, you can play this song.
Yeah.
Now, this is a cover. Like, back in the day, we covered, we did a Frank Sinatra album, and basically there was like the Great American Songbook, and you took any song out of that and you just recorded it, and that's what people did. And so this was done before. But I think that this is probably the most famous version of this song.
Yes.
And the interesting thing about this song, Bryan, is that it was produced by, who the fuck is the name? Felton Jarvis. And he had a big argument with Elvis and the manager. What the fuck is that guy's name? Colonel Tom. And so he purposely added a dip in the song. And I don't know if you noticed this listening to it.
Yeah.
But the song fades out and fades back in.
Yeah.
And it's just because that guy was pissed. Like, I'm going to fuck your song up now. And so he did that out of I'm going to ruin the song.
Oh, that was the smart.
And so they basically added what he's called a scar to the song. Stupid. But it is. The first time I heard it, I thought the song was over. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
There was a John Mulaney joke about songs, and sometimes it's sometimes there's a dip in a song. You think the song's over. No, it's not. And that's exactly what every time I hear this, it's not even over. There's more Suspicious Minds.
I feel like, in my opinion, he gave it so much more because they're repeating the same phrase, which is caught in a trap, right?
Yeah. Let's. Oh, you know what? You're right.
So it's like by dipping the song out, it's like you think the song's over, but we're caught in a trap and we can't get out. So if anything, he actually improved the song inadvertently
by making it
oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
As a listener, I was like, oh man, that was clever. Was that I was gonna bring that up as I'm sure there's an explanation of this. I've never looked it up. I'm glad you led with it because that explains a lot. The guy was trying to put a scar and ended up adding because it's at the time songs just faded out.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. So nowadays, maybe unless it's a drum and bass or something instrumental, they don't just fade out.
Yeah.
And this song builds to such an amazing point with the horns and everything.
Yeah, and I like how that changes time signatures. It goes slow. There's a slow part, goes back to this. The people I like that. Yeah, I like it. This is a great song, and I would give this song a 4.5. I think this is a great.
I think so too.
Great song.
Especially the half point is especially to spite the guy who was mad at the producer.
Yeah.
Because hey man, I think you ended up adding one of the most signature things to the song that makes it different than the rest of the covers.
And I think that now this has been covered 1,000 times since. I think they should have added the dip. I don't know if they did.
Huh? I wonder.
They should. If I ever cover the song, there's going to be a dip.
Gonna add the dip.
Bryan, we've done it, but I think it's time for you to pick the next album.
Okay.
What could it be?
All right, let's get in here.
Let's get a good one.
Last time I think I got Dick Bodie to be on for the first time.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I think you got the Beatles.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
All right,
can you get the Beatles again?
So I got 445.
445. We're high up here.
Keep that separate.
Thank you. Let's see what we got. We were so close last week for Jagged Little Pill. I was excited.
Oh, that would have been a good one because that has the drummer from
Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins. Although he wasn't on the album itself.
Oh, man.
He just did the tour.
Ooh, Sam Cooke would be a good one. 445.
Thank you. Jesus.
Sam Cooke will be a good album.
I can't remember the shit in the numbers.
Putting in codes for video games helped me.
We got
Ooh.
Close to the Eagle. Now, I own probably 10,000 Yes albums, all from my dad. I've never listened to any of them, but I almost guarantee you that I own this album in some fashion.
Yeah.
1972, Yes, Close to the Eagle. I don't know shit about Yes. Let's find out next week, and let's listen to the song, which will be 440. We almost got Elephant by the White Stripes, Brian. That would have been
cool.
God.
Would you have had Rocco on for that one?
I've had Rocco on for that one.
That makes the most sense.
445 is T-Rex, Cosmic Dancer from 1971.
I love T-Rex.
See, I don't know shit about T-Rex, and that's why I'm doing this show. Brian, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I'm going to have you on again, maybe just for a random rock album, not 90s rap. Unless you want to keep doing 90s rap, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh, man. I'm
80s.
good if you get Otis Redding albums,
okay.
if you get, like, jazz albums, if you get... the best thing is that I listen to so much music that it's... There's a lot that you can catch me for. So if you ever get a T-Rex album, I love T-Rex.
I mean, the only reason why, theoretically, why you're on even today is because you would wear that Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and then it's led to this. So, but we will get you to on non-rap albums someday.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, everyone, with Yes. And God, I just love you so much.
It's going to be good.